What's going on, Husker Nation? My name is Dewan Baker. I serve as our Diversity and Inclusion Director here in the Department of Athletics. I'm here with a few of our student athletes here talking about their specific experience here in Nebraska, but also talking about the Black Student Athlete Summit that we attended back in January. At the University of Texas, they host a Black Student Athlete Summit that brings together thought leaders around the country, coaches, administrators, athletic professionals, professors, the whole nine, talking about the Black athlete experience. So we had the opportunity to go for the first time ever, and of course you four were the chosen few to be able to go. So really want to get your experience and get your thoughts about what you thought the summit was like, what you enjoyed, what you didn't like, how did you learn about it, and really some takeaways from you all as far as what you got from attending the summit.
I would say I learned pretty much, different things about mental health issues, dealing with Black athletes, Black student athletes. And we also talked about, different things like the rape culture thing, stuff like that. Just putting people aware of like what's going on in the world and what's things that you're doing that you don't even realize is rape culture, things like that. And I kind of just, I feel like it was a nice experience. It was a nice like little summit to go to, and also learn and fellowship and like network with a lot of people, different people.
The summit allowed me to also network with a lot of other student athletes and a lot of other administrators and people that's just been through the same stuff that we're going through right now today as athletes. The summit allowed me to just think about all the little things I can do offhand, like when I have free time and I can be reading a book or I can be in my TA's office or just getting help to help myself later in the future, One of the biggest things that I always talk about when the guy's talking about just his tool belt, and everyone's talented, everyone's just not identified to one thing like an athlete or a student athlete. You're more than that. You can be whoever you want, and you can achieve whatever you want to do, and there's people out here that'll help you.
To add on to that, like a big takeaway was knowing what you can do outside of like being an athlete and how you can like further yourself when your career is over, because there is a certain point when everyone won't be able to be an athlete anymore. So I feel like the conference helped a lot with kind of taking like what you said, your tools, and being able to use them like out in the world. So that was really helpful.
I just got like a more in-depth explanation of like certain things I think about on my own. So like mental health and like the rape culture and stuff like that. I just thought it was like, oh, so that's that. So it's just like some more in-depth explanation. I just felt like I learned like a lot, and like they told me how to like apply those stuff to like everyday life situations. So every now and then I try to like spit some gems to like my peers and stuff like that. So that's what I took from that.
And I would say, I also used some of the stuff that I learned there and brought it back and also shared with some of the players on the team. And also just stopped them from talking about the wrong things. It's the different things you hear, that don't need to be said. That's like said about females or whatever. Period. Just things I learned and I brought back and started using.
I think one thing I noticed as kind of the administrator out the bunch is that each of you are in really, really different perspectives and different places, with Olivia being our only female student athlete who attended, to Ramir coming in as a freshman in the summer, to Deidre, you've been to a few schools, Derek, you've been to a few schools, but being the older guys out of the bunch, being probably the only active men's basketball player there. What are some of the things that you took from your own personal perspective that you think kind of helped you individually from attending the summit?
For me, I'm going through this redshirt year, and if it was up to me, I could easily not do anything. I could just slay around, but after like being at the meeting, it just told me like, just get up. There's people, like you said, there's people out here that want to help you. There's stuff that you can do now to improve your life later. But also I was able to talk to some of my teammates, like he said, about just rape culture and dehumanizing women. And I know for me, leaving that, every day when I think, like, I'm conscious about everything that I do. I'm conscious about the things I say and how I present myself and so forth.
I feel like same thing what Derek said, just being a guy that's transferred from many schools, and also getting a chance to come in right in and just, you know what I'm saying, go to that summit and learning just, you know what I'm saying, like he's saying about the rate culture and stuff, and then applying it to the everyday life, and different, like using my tool belt, applying my tool belt to everyday life, and just being a happy guy and just waking up like with the attitude of wanting to go all the time, like that everyday person, you feel me? And that's just my experience and what I've brought to the table and what I've learned to do around here.
I think for me, being the only female athlete that went, it was kind of cool because I got to meet a lot of other female athletes, both from soccer, like there's a lot of soccer players, but also there's like softball, track, and it was cool just like talking to the girls and understanding that like a lot of us do go through the same thing, like granted like we are at different places, but like the same things happen in the same schools, which was like interesting because you always think like, oh, like is this going on at this school or is this going on at this school, and like it is, like it's happening all around. So I think like that was the big takeaway, is like knowing that we need to address like what is happening, because like it's not just at our school, it's happening all around the country. So
I mean, I guess for me, like being the youngest there, I got to like, you know, experience like the older people's like stories and see like how they went through, you know, college and stuff like that. And like I try to use that to like see how I can like benefit myself throughout my like 4 years being here, and how I can like, you know, navigate and like help myself and my peers to like just be great overall as a person, I guess I could say. So I just took some pointers there that I learned and just like kept it with me, and like try to use that to like, you know, better myself and like others around me throughout, you know, next like 4 or 3 years that I'm here and stuff like that.
So another question, of course you're in this space where it's 500 people and, you know, 450 of them are black, right? Like the vast majority of the people there, so it creates a really, really different environment, atmosphere. Do you all feel like as black athletes here in Nebraska that you have a very different experience? And if so, what has that experience been like for you?
I mean, as far as me, I don't feel like it, because I've been to multiple schools and I've like been around a lot of people, different cultures, different, you know what I'm saying, races. So it really doesn't affect me too much. And just for me being out here, I mean, I don't really see like a lot of things they talk about in the meeting. I don't really see it here in Nebraska, because they kind of fixed those problems already. But you know, it's still some things that go on that we don't know about. I mean, but other than that, I don't really see too much.
I think for me, being on the soccer team, obviously there's me and like 2 other black girls. We're kind of all mixed though, so we technically don't count, but
No, you can.
but I don't know if like it's necessarily a problem that I see a lot, just because I'm not like around kind of like that culture, you know what I mean? But then being brought into that atmosphere, it was interesting to see kind of what other people do experience, because like I'm not experiencing that 24/7 like with my team here in Nebraska. So
for me, majority of the teammates are the same color as me, but you know, as we get to just know each other, you know, we've all kind of been different places. We're all born different places, and like, although every detail isn't the same, but our stories are almost always similar. You know, how we got here, the path we took, you know, and we're just here to better ourselves. And a lot of times we just don't know how. We don't know the resources out there. With the meeting, they put us in a big group. You said over 400 student athletes, you know, and they had us stand up and be active and walk around, and they just showed us that barriers can be broken. You know, we made eye contact with multiple people. We talked to each other. You know, they put us in rooms where we talk to each other like we've known each other for years. You know, so being in that situation just allows your mental to be open to other things, you know, and grow.
And like you was saying, like you don't really see it too much here on the campus, because like with us, like especially on the football team, we interact with all our players. Like especially for us, we are running backs. We both running backs. We got to interact. Our O-line white. All O-lines are white. You feel me? So we interact with them. But you feel me? Like at the same time, like we got to interact with them. Like we got to, because we're a team. We all a team. So it's like it's just that bonding thing that's all about it.
Makes sense. It's something that I think about again as an administrator, because we don't have too many.
Yeah.
But then again, it's always interesting how I see a lot of guys interact from different teams and a lot of girls interact with different teams, where it seems like some folks almost gravitate to one another because they have that shared experience, right? Like, I know what it's like to know and see you across the room, like, okay, I see another, you know what I'm saying? And that's not necessarily good or bad. It's just, sometimes it's just a shared experience, and sometimes you just gotta, a lot of folks feel comfortable with that. So we don't fault them by any means with who they choose to hang out with, or if they cross with other teams or whatever that is. But we know that's an important piece of how you experience not just Nebraska, but the world, you know what I'm saying, by hanging with people who come from a place like you do. So it's a really, really interesting thing to think about and talk about too.
I think it's just a sense of comfort, you know, being able to just be comfortable with that person and knowing that person is just alike. And you know, sometimes you don't want to feel judged for your upbringing, you know, even though you had no control of that.
Right.
But you don't want to, sometimes it's like, I don't want to fully open myself to someone that's not like me or that can really relate, you know?
And like with me, I don't really care like what your background really look like. I'm a friendly person. I'm gonna talk to you regardless. You feel me? You know, I would just talk regardless. Like I said, I don't really care what the background look like. I'm gonna talk regardless. And either it don't really matter if I know you or not, be on the elevator with you or not. Just never met you in my life. I'll probably say hey to you, good morning or whatever. You know, just sharing those experiences with different people, and letting everybody else see you be happy every day and ready to go every day.
I mean, I guess for me, I don't know. I'm a quiet person, so like, with a football team, like, you know, that's my sport. So I guess like, I can like gravitate to like, you know, the people there on the football team. So like, I'm cool with like, it doesn't matter like skin color or not. But I guess for like other sports, I mean, it just depends, because I like to be on my own and stuff like that. So if I feel like, you know, I can like, you know, relate to you or something like that, now I'll go out my way to talk to you. But really, I just be like on my own and stuff like that. So like, I guess with the meeting, like, it kind of like taught me to like, you know, just to be like more open and like, you know, just to get out your comfort zone, like they said, like just a little bit, just to see like, you know, you might find somebody just like you just don't know. You just gotta like take the step and like, and just open up, I guess, just get out of your comfort zone for the most part, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I think also too, like, being able to go with you guys and like, obviously I didn't like know you guys that well beforehand, but then like, I feel like we kind of like came close when like we were down there, and it was cool because like obviously we do all come from like different backgrounds, but like after like learning your story, it was cool to know that like you're not gonna judge a person because of like where they came from, of like, you know what I mean, like you said, like you can't handle that, but like that's not like, you shouldn't make that your main priority, because it is about like who the person is, you know. So like where you come from doesn't define you. So I think that was what was cool about the whole conference together, was like having everyone's like different backgrounds like coming together, and like knowing that like it, like you could see like the interaction in the room was like so like energetic and everything, and like no one really like, it didn't really matter about that. It was more just kind of like who you were like as a person, kind of. So I thought that was really cool to take away.
Yeah, I also got an opportunity to talk to our AD, Bill Moose. Tell us a little bit about what that was like, meeting the AD, getting to sit in his office, tell him about the experience. Is there anything you learned about talking to Bill?
I just want to say my relationship with him is growing. You know, before, like, I didn't know who he was, or he would walk by and like not say nothing, but he don't know who I am. But prior to the meeting, you know, I've seen him a couple times, and he's actually shaken my hand, gave me a hug, and I feel like that's really important, because I was also able to introduce my teammate to him, who had no idea who he was, you know. So I feel like the more we just continue to build a relationship with him, the better. You know, he welcomed me into his office. He told me to stop by anytime. So,
I mean, I think it was good to meet him, because like, I mean, that was like my first time. So now, you know, he don't know me as like a student athlete, he know me as like Ramir Johnson now. So I think that was just a good thing, just to meet him and stuff like that, I guess I would just say.
Yeah, he's over a bunch of athletes. It's probably hard for him to know every name. Yeah. So for him to take the time to learn and listen, that means a lot.
It's good for him to see faces and put the names, you know, faces and names together, you know. And that was a good experience, because now I know a few times, like with Dr. Husker, she even said she don't brag on me to Bill Moose about something, but he knew exactly who I was, you know what I'm saying, just because he met me from that meeting type thing.
What advice would you give to either incoming or current athletes who wanted to either go to the summit, the Black Student Athlete Summit, or wanted to talk more about things like their upbringing or their background? Well, what advice would you give to some of the younger folks?
I probably would just say, you know what I'm saying, go to the meeting and take everything they say and soak in everything they say and take it serious, you know, because what they saying is really important and it really mean a lot. And then you can really apply a lot of stuff that they say and talk about to your everyday life.
I mean, it's a great opportunity, you know. Like you said, during the like when they're talking, you would sit and just watch and see who would like lean in at times, and you know, and that means like everyone's different, and there's like they covered so much, and like one section might be your section, you know. So like you might not leave knowing everything about the meeting, but you'll leave knowing something about it, you know, because you tuned in, and it's very interesting, you know. My favorite part was when they was talking about the AAU thing, you know, when kids would leave AAU with no money, you know. I was that kid, you know, so that part really touched me. I leaned in on that part, you know. So throughout the meeting, like there's something in there for you, you know. There's something in there that'll wake you up.
Yeah, me personally going into it, I didn't like know what to expect. But it like definitely met my expectations and like exceeded them. I had such a fun time, and like you guys have all said, like we all learned so much from it, and like not just from an athlete's perspective, but then like taking it forward and like bringing it into your personal life and like what you can do to better yourself was like the biggest takeaway for me. So
I mean, I just tell them to be open, because like I know you might ask, you know, most kids like, oh, you want to come to the summit, but like, no, I'm not going to that, but like you actually learn some stuff from it, so you just got to be.
Yeah, see, a few, and I knew a few of them like that. But when I just saw the video, I was already like, sign me up, I'm coming.
I'm not saying like it's looking interesting. So I'm just saying you just got to be open to it. Cause you might learn some stuff. You know, don't just throw it out the way. You know, off the back, you don't know what's in there. Just be open, pretty much. That's what I'll tell them.
It's growing too. It's getting bigger.
Yeah. First year was 100 people, maybe. And that was 500 plus, so yeah.
In 5 years.
Yeah, in 5 years, right? Yeah,
that's a goal though. 500 plus in 5 years.
Yeah.
That's 100
it's
a
growing.
year.
Yeah, it's growing. It's growing, man. Yeah. One of my goals is to, of course, to go every year, but I really want to get an athlete to present. That's my goal. If I can get some athletes to present one year, I think that'll put us in a really good spot. Yeah, it's just for sure, man.
And I thought about if I do go next year, I'll probably do that percentage.
You present. Hey, I'm gonna hold research and stuff.
For real though, that ain't no problem.
For the non-student athletes who might watch this, whether that's on campus, whether that's our fans, whether that's supporters of Nebraska, or just a random stranger, what's something that you want people to know about either you as an individual or just student athletes in general?
I'd rather everybody just know me as Dedrick Mills, like the student, you feel me? Not as like, you know what I'm saying? Like I walk around here sometimes, they just don't know me for football type thing, feel me? Like I'd rather be known as like, you know, as Dedrick Mills, you feel me? The student, not the student. I'm a student athlete, but I'd rather be known as a student athlete, but not just the athlete part, you know?
So we all the same. I mean, like no matter if I play sports or not, I might find a student, you know, he might have to go through the same things we're going through, and he not playing sports or she not playing sports. So like, you know, we just the same. There's no difference. There's no hierarchy or anything with like the sports or anything like that. It's just like.
And that's what I try to do. I try to like when I do talk to regular students, I tell them like, yeah, I don't look at us as a higher, you feel me, having higher power, being able to get certain things a certain way because we play football or because we play a sport. Period. Like, nah, I feel like we all are the same. I feel like we all equal. Like, I don't feel like a celebrity when people like say, oh yeah, you famous, you this. Nah, I'm not. I'm just like you. Feel me?
Nah, I'm the same, you know. I've learned that like anyone can dribble a basketball and anyone can shoot a basketball. You know, so being on campus, you know, I don't want people to feel like they can't talk to me or like be around me because like I'm a student athlete, you know, like if you want to talk to me, you want to say hello, like I'm more than welcome to talk to you, you know, like not all athletes have that like attitude, you know what I mean? I mean, for basketball, we went overseas and there were little kids out there that could shoot the ball, you know, so like anyone can do it. It's not just certain people that can do it, you know, if that's what you can do, you can do.
Yeah, I like would say the same thing. I obviously probably don't get as much clout as you guys do for being on the soccer team. But I mean, yeah, just to like be able to walk around and like interact with the students here at Nebraska and just like know that like we're all like a part of like Nebraska culture, you know, like we all came here for a reason, so yeah.
But it's also hard as an athlete to see like the other side of student life, you know, because we're always like demanded of our time, you know, so it's hard to actually see what they do all day and how they actually live, you know. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest difference on why like there's a border between us, you know, but it shouldn't be that way, you know. We're all here to get an education.
I was a student athlete, but I finished after my freshman year. I stopped running. And you see the different experience as soon as you finish and you go to being a regular student. You see the difference. You notice it immediately. Like, man, I ain't got practice. I ain't got weights. I ain't got to check in with no advisor, and it's just a completely different vibe. But it's so much that you miss. Like, you don't get that teamwork. You don't get the camaraderie. Like, you don't have a built-in structure no more, right? So it's real different. Not better or worse. It's a completely different ball game. You know, you just got to get used to it. But yeah, that's a good point. That's definitely a good point.
I think one thing too, like coming back, like it's definitely like made me think of like who I was as a person before and like who I can be. And I like tried to definitely like pay attention to kind of like, not like how I act, but like how I interact with people. Cause like I would definitely consider myself like more of the shy, like quiet side, but just like being able to open up to other people. Cause like if you don't take the step to open up, like you're never gonna like be able to experience the things you will, like learn who other people are, because like then they're not gonna want to open up like about themselves too. So I think like that's the biggest thing was like that I took from the summit was like just being able to open up to other people and like get to know people better.
Well, I appreciate y'all time, y'all energy. Thanks for joining us here on Husker Hemisphere. We'll have a few more sessions coming up in the future, but just want to say again, thanks again, and hey, go Big Red.